One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Oh yeah, baby. Much love, honor, respect, everybody. Hopefully everyone's enjoying the Whip About Wednesday. Let's get it. All right, so as you guys can see from the title here, Trump strikes Canada tariff deal. And actually, I should have really had a question mark on that. Now that's why I have it on the thumbnail like that. But we'll get more into that here in a minute as to why there would be a question mark. And then Iran tensions escalate as well as Michigan protests erupts. All right, we got a lot to discuss this morning, as we always do. All right, so let me give you guys the chronological timeline of what we're going to be discussing first, and then we'll get into the madness. First, we're going to start off with Speaker Mike Johnson delivers remarks in Lansing, Michigan, it looks like. So we'll have that queued up for you guys as well. We got the anti-Islam agitators clash with pro-Muslim supporters in Michigan. This is the way that they're reporting it, by the way. I mean, literally, they didn't specify bikers. They didn't do any of that shit. Or Jake Lang. They didn't even use that in any type of titles. And then we're keeping an eye on Florida. There's a couple of things going on regards to their race. We got Florida face-off. Brian Donalds and David Jolly sailed to primary wins in governor's race. And then we have Florida Representative Corey Mills loses GOP primary and amid House ethics probe. Then we're going to be discussing about the whole Canada tariff situation. Okay. There's very specific details on this. It's not a deal yet. There is no deal yet. There's an outline for a framework for it, essentially. And they have 3 days to make sure it happens. So yesterday, would have been last night at midnight or whatever is supposedly when the new tariff, the 50% tariffs were going to be implemented. But an hour and a half before midnight, he basically pulled out of that and said, we'll give it 3 days to figure this out. And we'll get more into that. I have the written up explanations on all of these things, and we'll be breaking that down when we get to it. So we'll just hold off for right now. Then we have Alaska primary update. Sullivan Peltola advances in key Senate race. This over there, obviously in Alaska. And then, of course, Dearborn protests. Chaos erupts at anti-Islam rally in Michigan. So we got a lot of craziness we're looking at here. Then, of course, we're going to get into the Middle East a little bit. It says Middle East war, no talks between U.S. and Iran, Trump says. Trump says there are no talks or conversations going on or scheduled with the Islamic Republic of Iran. The naval blockade remains in full force and effect. The Hormuz Strait is open and operating. All water mines have been removed or detonated. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so that's what we're going to be discussing this morning. We got a lot to discuss, as always. Quickly, let's do our call to actions, and then we'll get into the madness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it, and it's free to do so. You know what else is free? Is hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And, of course, listen, we have members only on Saturday morning where we don't discuss any of this shit. Speaking of members, please consider becoming a member starting only at $4.99 a month, making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time breaking news, as well as politics, all that great shit. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. And of course, we have a Discord server for all of you legends in the IWF. Make sure you guys join up on that where we break news. It's us as a community in there as well. Go in the video description down below for the invite link. And last but not least, we're doing a fundraiser right now for ourselves here on Insane Wheels, obviously. We're trying to raise money for a new camera. So the camera that we're going to be getting is a used camera, and it's still going to cost us $2,000. So we're fundraising right now, and let me see the exact number that we have. We're at $115 out of $2,000 towards the camera. So if we can go ahead and help out the homie, you know what I mean, so that we can get ourselves a new camera, man. All super chats, super stickers, gift and memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash,
denied.
Well, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen at any time. You can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds. And of course, we'll read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a normal super chat, so you'll still be heard. All right, we got the email scanning. Good morning to everyone, man. We always appreciate having all of you guys in here. We got Easy Frank and Pablo. Good morning to you, gentlemen. We got Brother So Loud from the Boondocks of North Carolina. Shout out to my man. We got Naomi in the building. Shout out to you as well. We got Gary. Good morning, kind sir. We got KP in the building as well as Shadow. Good morning. We got Carney, Vanguard, and OG Steve. Easy Facts. We got Barbie as well up there in Canada. We're going to be speaking a little bit about Canada this morning. We got Quick Shoe as well. Good morning. Great to see you. We got Brother VC as well, and chatting with Stacks. Good morning to you guys, man. All right. Is that the Lucy cam? No, essentially this camera that I'm using now would end up becoming the Lucy camera. You know what I mean? We got Rabbit of Chaos. Good morning to you as well. And that's right. That's facts. Virginia Chaos. That would be smart. Anyways, we got a lot to discuss. Let's go ahead and start with what Mike Johnson was speaking on. He delivered remarks over there in Lansing, Michigan yesterday. So let's figure out what was going on with that, and then we'll get into the big protests over there. The anti-Islam agitators clash with pro-Muslim supporters in Michigan. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what the hell is going on here.
Very much part of our downtown. So the Tower on Grand is one of $350 million worth of projects we're developing downtown. It's $187 million. The rest are 4 more projects: the Washington Square Building, the Capitol Tower, Old Town, and the Ingham Building for the legislature. So we're really, really honored. This is 2 weeks in a row. We've had very esteemed guests coming to look at what we're doing. And we're so honored to have Speaker Johnson here, a chance to show what Lansing is about. He comes from a small town called Shreveport, very much similar in economics. And our purpose in building these jobs is to bring people downtown. We lost the core of our workforce, 12,000 people during COVID, when the state employees all went home and didn't come back. So we're bringing people back. And now, Speaker Johnson, yes, so honored to have you here.
Hey, thank you so much. Well, yeah. We appreciate it so much. I'm so grateful to be here with my dear friend and colleague, Tom Barrett. Michigan's 7th District is so important to us. And it's so good to be in Lansing and to see all this economic development. What's happening here is a great snapshot of what we plan for the country, the policies that we put in place to make sure that we do provide greater jobs and greater opportunities for growth and expansion, and what Paul and his team are doing here. It does remind me a lot of my hometown in Shreveport, Louisiana. Similar population in the municipal area, similar background. Some of the buildings look the same as in my part of the country. And we need that revitalization to provide more and greater jobs and higher wages for hardworking people. That's what Tom Barrett has been working on in Congress. I'm delighted to bring a lot of colleagues and friends here along for reinforcements for this very important battleground district. Everybody knows the dean of the delegation here, Ken Wahlberg, who's the chairman of our House Education Workforce Committee.
I really don't care about any of these things about like all these people that, okay, I really don't care. Let's skip ahead.
Regulatory relief, so you can have more construction and more building like this, and also to provide greater jobs and higher wages. The big beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, is a great example. We were looking at the stats this morning. The average Michigander has $3,131 more in their pocket. That's the average tax cut in the state, because we did what we said we were going to do. We cut taxes, regulation, got the economy going again. And we know prices are high right now, and we're working every day to make sure they continue to come down.
What's up, Charlie Rose? Good morning to you, by the way.
Remember that we inherited from the Biden-Harris administration the highest inflation in 40 years, so it's taken a while to climb out of that. The Iran conflict is going to...
Oh,
And
that's
that
on
will
their
help make
side.
sure the gas prices stay low, and that will bring down the prices of groceries as well, because the transport costs of oil and gas. But every
Man, nothing's going to be going down, cuh. Let's just be real about
day,
it.
Republicans are working really hard. Now, Tom's opponent wants to do exactly the opposite of everything I just said. Tom's opponent was the founder of the Democrat Socialist America in Michigan, their chapter. He opened it in his living room. And you've seen what their platform is. They want to abolish the border. They want to abolish prisons in America. They want to abolish the U.S. Senate, remove the president.
Okay, so it's just going to be a slagging ordeal with the Democrats, really. So, anyways, that's enough of that. Let's get into this anti-Islam agitators clash with pro-Muslim supporters in Michigan. Now, we got a couple of updates on this. We got one from yesterday, and it looks like one from this morning, only 2 hours ago. So, we definitely have some footage for you guys. Let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what is exactly going on with this shit. And also, I think we need to start embracing our fuck-ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We shall always embrace the process. That's a fact, Jack. The BS coming out of his mouth making my brain hurt. Yeah, no doubt, homie. No one's abolishing prisons or borders. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe the borders, but you know how the left really pushes for open borders and stuff like that. But the prison stuff, I think they like prisons too. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what's happening here with this.
I'm going to shift gears right now and show you a live look that we're getting out in Dearborn, Michigan right now, as there is a protest happening ahead of a city council meeting there. It looks like a very active scene still. Our partners at Fox 2 Detroit are currently in coverage of this. Let's go ahead and listen into that here on Live Now from Fox.
Police barricade right here that's happening. You see the line of people, right? They're out here, and they at 6 o'clock, roughly 6 o'clock. That's when people started moving towards the entrance of the library, and we got kind of lost in the melee, separated from one of my photographers who ran up ahead and was able to get some very good shots of Jake Lang as he was entering the area. And then at that exact moment, we saw police come out and use some sort of spray, pepper spray or some sort of thing on the audience that was out there, and knocking them back. We saw some people reaching for water bottles, and then the crowd started to gather a little bit more and push towards that entrance. That's when
What up, Ashton? Good morning to you, by the way. Great to see
police
you.
retreated a little bit and came out. When you see this full show of riot gear here setting this perimeter, they came rushing out, pushed me back. I was actually separated from my photographers at the exact moment that Jake entered this kind of square here, and has been kind of talking to the masses. That's kind of where we stand right now, is the people on the perimeter just waiting to hear from him, but also playing music loudly so they can't hear him. He's got a loudspeaker. Many people are holding signs, and the protest continues.
The first thing that I saw, Steve Easy, when the arrival thing happened or whatever, when they were parking their bikes or whatever, the first thing I saw was LEMC. I was like, okay, yeah, that's the type of time they're on. KP knows the deal as well. That's right.
Dave, we hear that there's about 150 people that are able to go into the city council meeting. You're not hearing anything that the meeting is going to be canceled?
What's up, Jamie Lindsay? Good morning to you. Hopefully you're enjoying your Whip 'em Out Wednesday so far. And by the way, this goes for everybody. Let's get the likes up, man. Appreciate that. That's free to do so. Double tap the screen if you're on the vertical side.
Modified, moved, or anything like that. And other question, are there people inside now that are waiting for the city council meeting to start?
Well, it's not clear from this vantage point if people were able to get in. My guess would be not from this point. Now, they could have gotten in. We were told if we were planning on attending this meeting that we needed to enter from the backside of the library. So it's possible that people in there right now were able to abide by those rules, go in through the proper channels. But I'm fairly confident to say that nobody was able to get in from this vantage point, judging by the sheer number of police that have set up this perimeter, making sure that nobody is able to get any further than where they are right now. As for what's going on inside, I can't speak to that.
Dave, we also heard that there may have been people with some weapons. Now, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but are you...
I'm sure there's people that are carrying, but you got to be careful in these certain states and their gun laws where they will try to do everything to fuck you over. Anyways, let's figure out what's happening with this.
Minutes ago, and he is making his voice heard well ahead of that city council meeting. We're warriors for Christ. They say they're warriors of Christ. This is a Christian message, but you basically, I mean, when you see the amount of tension here, yet you say you have a Christian message.
Get Jacob. Get Jacob.
So, Jake Lang, you've been out here. What is your message for City Council?
City Council needs to understand that there increased aggression against Christians, including the mayor himself, who told a Christian pastor that there will be a parade the day that he leaves. This increased two-tiered persecution of Christians, where Muslims are allowed to stone us on the streets without repercussion. They're being treated like kids when the Christians come out here, and we have hate crime charges they're trying to levy against us just for speaking the name of Jesus.
This is a pro-Christian activist who announced last week that he would be speaking to city officials.
After I was stoned.
That he would be speaking to city officials at the city council meeting. And basically, as you can see, there are a number of people here who have showed up before this meeting ahead of city council. Police have a perimeter around.
What's up, Carrie, by the way? Good morning.
To keep everyone safe. The tensions here are very, very high. Police are here on the ground. They're on the roof of this library.
Oh, yeah, I'd imagine so, Tommy, for sure.
They are working to keep everyone safe because tensions are so high out here. Now, Jake says that he has a Christian message, but as you can see, it has basically excited a lot of tension, a lot of hate speech, and a lot of derogatory feelings toward Muslims. Again, we're going to be out here all evening long, covering this from all angles to make sure.
What's up, Miss Lotus? Good morning, by the way.
This message and the coverage is fair and balanced. But as you can see, Jake has been out here probably for about 40 minutes now, speaking with the megaphone. He's got a lot of followers out here. There are obviously some counter demonstrators, but he says that he is trying to take Dearborn back. He wants to get his Christian message out here, and this is how he's doing it. So again, we're going to be out here all evening long.
He's going back in for round two.
I was stoned.
You say you were stoned. There were arrests that were made.
Did you see stones being thrown at me on camera?
There were arrests that were made.
Did you see stones? Did you watch the video?
And again, we're going to be out here.
Now he's pressing her.
Somebody punched me.
You
see me be assaulted. I was assaulted.
Ingrid, can you ask him if he can and Muslims can sit down and talk about their differences? Would he be willing to do that?
Neither side would be willing to do that. Just FYI. Okay.
As a Christian, we just want to figure out how you are promoting peace with this.
We are promoting peace through strength. We keep on rolling down and showing our bellies to the Muslims, and they take us over more and more each year. Peace through strength. Peace through strength.
All right. As you can see, police are here covering the door here of the library. We're going to be out here all evening long. It's unsure if this city council meeting is actually going to.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And Muslims are, I mean, very smart in the way that they move throughout the world. They definitely, and especially the United States, they go after congressional districts, and that's how they also get enough people there that their own people will vote them in. So it's crazy.
Take place today, but again, we're going to be out here. We have several crews covering it. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Ingrid Kelly. Right in the midst of things, that was Jake Lang. That's the person from that he is the obviously promoting a Christian a rally, I guess, of sorts, and that's what he was doing. So let's go back to Dave Spencer right now. Dave, what do you have for us?
Yeah, Charlie, I moved a little bit back so we can give a little bit more perspective of what's happening out here. This is kind of the circle outside of the main entrance to the library. Again, the plan was for everyone to go in the back side of the library. They had
well, it is a decent amount of people that showed up.
These yellow fences set up, setting the perimeter up, and right around 6 o'clock is when a group of people decided that they were kind of going to breach the perimeter, so to speak, and try to get in via this area of the library, and they were able to do so up to a point, and that's when police kind of stepped to that doorway and used some sort of spray on a few members of the crowd. We saw them kind of rear back and start spitting and rubbing their eyes, and then they used water to kind of wash away whatever was in their eyes.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a little bit of a little bit of that mace. All right, let's go and scroll ahead here because we actually have an update from this morning coming out just 2 hours ago. So I really want to get to that. But they're showing, different images here now, I guess. Let's see what this is. Is this a counter terror or counter protest, or what's going on here?
With Lang, when he was making his way.
Counter protest to the counter protest.
Jake Lang was making his way over to the library. There was that. We then saw some kind of a situation where people were running towards the street, but everything is peaceful where we are. I think most people are listening to, again, the speeches up by the main American flag right there by the doorway. It's a lot of people just kind of gathering around pretty much with different forms of messaging. A lot of there's 3 guys dressed up as Spider-Man, so maybe there's a message there, perhaps. But yeah, it's just pretty much gathering out here. I'll take a look one more time. And you can see.
Damn, Randy, that sucks. Good morning to you, by the way.
It's just people talking right now. Most of the rhetoric, maybe the hotter stuff, by the stage there.
Dave Kitchen, why don't you hold right there for us just a moment? We do have some pictures from inside of the Centennial Library. This is where the city council meeting is supposed to take place. There's the inside. Now, I was told that they had to move the meeting from the regular city hall city council chambers, to this, the library,
I'm sure,
because they have about 150 seats. That's all. Obviously, the council people are not there, although the meeting is supposed to start around 7 o'clock. Some people are in the audience.
and I heard what Jake had to say in there as well. I heard not the entire thing, but I think I heard the majority of it. Let's see if we get any other images here. I'm just kind of scrolling through this because this is a long piece of coverage that they did here.
With water bottles that were supplied by other members of the crowd, and then
Okay, I don't care about none of that. All right, we'll get to the update here in a few, but we do everything chronologically as they came out since our last show, which was yesterday, obviously. So we have to pay attention to Florida real quick. We have some races going on down there. So Florida face off. Brian Donalds and David Jolly sailed to primary wins in governor's race. And then right after that, we have Florida Representative Corey Mills loses GOP primary amid House ethics probe. So let's go ahead and bring this up, figure out what is happening over there in Florida.
Getting some race results in. Let's head to Florida as we're learning that Byron Donalds has officially secured his path to the general election in November. He will be the Republican running for Florida's governorship come later this year. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who is term limited, again, it'll be Byron Donalds. He's going to be winning on the Republican side. David Jolly, we have heard Jolly and Donalds talking about each other quite a bit because both of the men expected that they would eventually face each other in the general. We now have a race call for David Jolly as well. So that officially makes the match for November. We will have Byron Donalds, the Republican, versus David Jolly, the Democrat, heading into the general. Byron Donalds is a Trump endorsed, and he was the clear front runner for that. Moving to the Senate, Ashley Moody with now the check mark next to her name.
Byron.
She had a pretty big victory, really was 80% to a 14% there. And they've just got over 3/4 of the votes tallied. So Moody will be advancing to the general. And on the Democrat side of things, it will be Angie Nixon, who is going to be facing off against Ashley Moody. So Ashley Moody was appointed the incumbent. She was former attorney general. We do know that the November winner will complete the final 2 years of Marco Rubio's term. Angie Nixon is a progressive state representative, by the way. She's going to be defeating Alex Vindman, and that was a bit of a closer race, although Nixon getting the race call in her favor with 83% of the votes tallied so far. The AP calling it again, Byron Donalds and David Jolly will compete to replace Ron DeSantis as Florida governor. We have been watching this race closely. Byron Donalds really has kind of turned himself into a national brand. You see him on the Sunday morning shows and the talk.
What's up, Tiffany? Good morning.
Shows so often. So Donalds is currently a U.S. representative, and again, he is Trump endorsed. And there it is with the AP race call, saying he gets the Republican nomination for Florida governor, securing the nod with President Trump's endorsement. He could become the state's first black governor, according to the Associated Press. So
now he was in the Senate prior to this.
You know what? It looks like Fox 13 in Tampa is live right now. Why don't we dip into their coverage for a little bit? They'll more than likely be talking about all of these results, both local and national implications. Let's listen in. This is happening live right now.
Over the last couple of months, as we followed the candidates and their reasoning for doing what they're doing, I have learned so much. And we even had Angie Nixon on here live. I mean, she was very vocal about everything she stands for. I mean, remember when she was
House of Representatives, my bad,
going around on the floor,
Congress,
with the big megaphone. What was that about again?
Well, she was protesting redistricting, gerrymandering.
Yes.
Let's call it for what it is, gerrymandering. And then she took to the floor with a bullhorn in a show of disruption. I can say tactically it may have backfired because you had a couple of Democrats who said they voted the wrong way. And one of those Democrats say they were so distracted by Nixon over there, they just got confused. They pushed the wrong button. So she may have taken the numbers in the wrong direction. But what happened, she definitely got noticed. And this is
interesting. Now, I haven't been following Florida's politics, but it is interesting that it did come out. Now, here's the what they show for the Democrat side. David Jolly has 62%. He's won that by a landslide for that. And I don't even know how many people in total actually were in the race. I think here we had 9 people in the lieutenant governor's race here locally where I am. for Alabama, right? So it was a lot of people on the ballot this last time. Anyways, let's go into this real quick. So Corey Mills loses GOP primary amid House ethics probe. Let's quickly get into that, and before we get into the tariff situation with Canada.
One of the races that we've been tracking closely is Florida's 7th district. Corey Mills for Florida's.
God damn it. Accidentally misclicked.
Been declared the victor. You see the check mark next to his name. He's actually speaking live right now. Let's listen in.
Gubernatorial candidate. And, you know, my opponent wanted to hit me a lot that I would not weigh in on the governor's race, and I did that for one reason. I didn't endorse in any races, and part of that was we had people that endorsed us or supported us from all different walks of life, and I want to make sure we were staying united, and that's one thing. Our goal now is to win in November. We'll talk.
Shit, what's up, Blair? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your Whip 'em Out Wednesday.
About that more later, but the way you do that is you grow your party, and I think that's something we've done. We had someone today that told me he hadn't voted before, he hadn't been at a political event. Those are the people that you pull in, and I think that's going to make us very strong in November. Beyond that, I also want to thank Beck Talipov is here. Beck is not only was one of our big donors early on, and if you give me some of my advance, that first month was really hard. I talked a lot about when you're a news anchor, you get a lot of phone calls back when you make phone calls, not when you're running against an incumbent that first month. It's interesting. They just don't want to get involved in that race. And we had a lot of courageous people that I'm going to mention.
Yeah, you want to see what kind of support you get running politics. There's a lot of people that were like, hey, we're willing to help, but we're not willing to like make that public. You know what I mean? there's a lot of, I mean, interesting dynamics within politics for damn sure. I'm glad that I've been able to be a part of it, actually be on the ballot myself, and now, of course, continue running here locally.
Tonight that freed that up. So Beck, I really appreciate that. And Beck's son, Jacer, has been fantastic for us as well.
Be safe, Miss Lotus. That's so funny. No, I've got them sped up, by the way, 1.25 times, by the way.
Curtis and Laura Hodges are another fantastic group and the significance of that is early on, again, I kept getting hit. We knew we had all the support, but we couldn't mention anyone that was supporting us. Well, Curtis got tired of that. We put a list of about 40 people. We put Dan Newman at the top of that, and people got pretty quiet after that when they saw that list. And that was a big moving stone from us. Also, Bertika is here as well. And Bertika, thank you. And Governor DeSantis, I think leaders lead, and what we saw from Governor DeSantis this week was leadership. Standing up and saying this district needs new leadership. You know, the most, this week, if you follow me, we did a Newsmax interview, we did a CNN interview, we did all these local interviews, and the one question that we got on the radar, the national radar, first of all, we got the race. When you start with Fox News and New York Post and those covering your race, that's a really good thing. The number one question I got the last week was President Trump. And understand, we have had from the beginning of this indirect channels of communication with the president. I would applaud the president for letting this competitive primary play out. And if you notice this weekend, and I did, I've always said it's what you don't hear. He knew what he was doing. He let this primary play out. He let the people in this room and the people in Volusia County and Seminole County pick their representatives. So thank you to the White House and the president for doing that. One of my dear friends, Congressman Mike Erupts, we have known each other a lot of years. And I got to tell you, without his support early on, I have always thought this is something I could do and God had given me the skill set to do. You also need to understand how Washington works. And having someone that is so respected like Congressman Erupts and then Anna Paulina Luna, who's been fantastic. Tasha knows we've spoken many, many times throughout this, to have those leaders jump on board with us a couple weeks ago, again, against an incumbent and against a presidential endorsement. And they did that anyway. That is courage right there, and I applaud them for that. So our very first endorsement, and I really did not ask for endorsements other than one exception, Sheriff Chitwood and Senator Wright. Those were our very first two endorsements. And when you talk about leaders, I want to...
Okay, that's very cool and all respect. Cool, but we're moving on. All right, so we got Trump says deal has been reached to delay tariffs on Canadian imports. Well, let me go ahead and actually explain what's happening here, okay? Try to keep it layman's, because this is a little bit more complex than what Trump is making it out to be. So Trump was about to impose those new 50% tariffs on roughly $20 billion of Canadian goods starting today at midnight. These would hit products including dairy, wine, furniture, and other Canadian exports. And importantly, some would have been hit even if normally protected under USMCA. Now, that's coming out from Reuters, by the way. These are all right here coming from Reuters this morning. Those tariffs did not take effect at midnight. Trump announced a 3-day pause, saying the U.S. and Canada had reached a deal. Now, Canada isn't calling it completely finished yet. Prime Minister Mark Carney says there has been substantial progress, but key work remains. So this is better understood as a preliminary agreement / framework that still needs final details. The fight is largely about cars, dairy, and alcohol. Washington wants better access for American products and changes to Canadian trade barriers. Canada wants relief from existing U.S. tariffs. Autos remain one of the biggest sticking points. They now have 3 days to finish this. If they finalize the agreement, the threatened tariffs could be avoided long term. If negotiations break down, the tariff threat still remains. So, bottom line on this is a major de-escalation, but I would not tell anybody straight up like this is somehow a deal being made or it's been finalized or anything like that. That's kind of the way that Trump and the mainstream media kind of made it out to be, and it wasn't that. So this coming out, let's go and figure out what they are. This coming out 11 hours ago, by the way, and this happened yesterday evening.
Some breaking news. We're learning that President Trump has made a deal with the Canadians to delay tariffs on the country.
There ain't no deal yet. There's a framework, which is a great thing. I just said it's a great de-escalation move, but it's not a deal yet.
Sent this out on Truth Social saying, I have paused the 50% tariffs against Canada that were scheduled to kick in tomorrow morning for a 3-day period, based on the fact that Canada and the USA, subject to the finalization of documents, have a deal. The great Keystone XL pipeline, long ago killed by sleepy Joe Biden, may be awoken from the grave. Thank you for your attention to this matter. He signs off President Donald J. Trump. Live look at the White House, where as we get this breaking news, it's about 10:51 in the nation's capital. The announcement, which Trump made on his Truth Social platform, it's basically buying time for more negotiations, and it, for now at least, avoids another strain in a tense relationship between Canada and the United States. Trump's import taxes would have hit about 5% of what Canada ships to the United States every year, includes products ranging from hockey sticks to
yes, very, very true.
Tongue depressors, according to the Associated Press. Again, President Trump making this announcement, saying he's delaying the 50% U.S. tariffs on $20 billion worth of Canadian imports after the two countries reached a last-minute deal hours before the sanctions were to go into effect. We'll let you know if we hear anything more from President Trump. We'll let you know if we see any statement.
Of course, that's what we're going to do as well. So real quick, I have here. So what were the 50% tariffs actually targeting? People were asking the question. This coming out from the White House. The July 20th Trump I can't say the fucking word. I'm too retarded. Targeted Canadian practices involving automobiles, dairy products, and alcoholic beverages, among other goods. Products potentially affected included things such as milk and dairy products, liquor and wine, automotive related goods, hockey equipment, and particle board. Very, very interesting. So anyways, just wanted to clarify what the actual position is objectively. Okay, let's go ahead and get into Alaska now. We have the Alaska primary update. Sullivan, I don't know how to say the other, Peltola advances in key Senate race. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and figure out what's happening over there in Alaska in their primaries. We just got it done with a little bit of, Florida. Now let's see what's going on over there in Alaska. Oh, you know what's a good thing we haven't done yet? We got to do it right now. Let's just go ahead and do the money part.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Feels ultra good to be a G. That's going to be the best propaganda you get all day right there.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Shauna Kalafi. We have been following primary elections in 3 states tonight, Florida, Alaska, and Wyoming. And we are getting some race calls in Alaska. Republican U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan and Mary Peltola will advance from Alaska's U.S. Senate primary. The general election is a ranked choice contest. So in Alaska, voters were choosing from a long list of candidates for that competitive U.S. Senate seat. 16 candidates in the state's all-party primary. Again, at the top of that ballot and now advancing, we have Republican U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan going for a 3rd term. and facing Democratic former U.S. Representative Mary Peltola.
Oh, I can objectively tell you that she is playing with you. Otherwise, she would have just kicked you out of here a long time ago.
Let's give you a look at those numbers as we have them so far. So the top 4 out of those 16 candidates will be on the ballot in November. As you can see, Peltola and Sullivan advancing. And we have another.
What's up, Prez? By the way, good morning to you.
Daniel
Great to see you in the
Sullivan
chat.
also getting a small number of votes, also on one of those 16 contenders for this very competitive U.S. Senate seat. This Senate seat is expected to play a pivotal role in determining which party will hold the majority in the chamber next year. And we are also learning some results in the race for governor there in Alaska, also an all-party primary. We have 2 candidates advancing so far, Jonathan Crease Tompkins and Tom Begich, with 21% and 19% of those votes, almost half of the votes counted so far in this governor's primary there in Alaska.
Interesting. Let me back this up here so that you guys can see it without the thing on it.
And
God damn it. There we go. 18,000 to 16,000. Wow, fucking close for governor over there. Very close race, and that's at 59%. So interesting. Now they'll move into their own race now. Okay, let's go on and get into the update we have on Dearborn protest. Chaos erupts at anti-Islam rally in Michigan. Now, obviously, we already covered the front half of it being reported from yesterday. Now we have an update from 2 hours ago, right before we basically started the live stream. We had this. So let's figure out what is happening. And quickly, I think everybody, again, we need to reiterate that we need to embrace our fuck.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We will absolutely always embrace the process here at Insane Wheels. All right, let's go and bring us up, figure out what is happening here.
Chaos here over in Michigan. You can see some of the aerial video that's coming into our newsroom as we follow this developing story here with the help of our Fox 2 Detroit team. Now, Dearborn police making several arrests after a large protest that were sparked by the arrival of anti-Islam activist Jake Lang. Fox 2 Detroit's Robin Murdoch joining us live in Dearborn with much more on what happened. And I'll say, Robin, that video is definitely unbelievable.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty quiet out here now. Very different scene than what it was like, Josh, in that video just a couple of hours ago.
What's up, brother 13? My man, great to see you in the chat. And enjoy the shadows. Happy Whip 'em Out Wednesday. And everybody, listen, real quick. Let's get the likes up, man. I very much appreciate it. Double tap the screen. It's free to do so. You don't have to like it for everything that the chaos that's going around the world, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here on Insane Wheels. So thank you for that.
And there were hundreds and hundreds of demonstrators that descended on Dearborn as part of this event that happened out here last night, the city council meeting. There were several arrests. Police, they are expected to release numbers a little bit later on today, specific numbers about how many people were taken into custody. All of this, though, happening because of right-wing activist Jake Lang coming to town as part of his Christian crusade. Now, as you know, Lang served 4 years in prison and was pardoned by the president following his involvement in the January 6th insurrection. Now, police from several agencies, some wearing riot gear, could be seen outside of the Centennial Library ahead of that city council meeting last night. There was yelling between Lang's supporters and some counter protesters that were out here, both sides very passionate about their beliefs. You could also see pushing and shoving at times. Demonstrators at one point, they even knocked down barricades, all of that leading up to the city council meeting. I want you to take a listen now to what Jake Lang and the Dearborn mayor had to say last night.
Tell me that white Christians are not being invaded. How can you lie to our faces with your taquilla? This is an invasion on all fronts. Our people are being pushed out of the workplace. We're being pushed out of city councils. That's,
you know, even though he's yelling and all that, you can almost feel like there's a sense of bullshit there, you know? Just saying.
Smug face of the taquilla Muslims needs to be wiped off these people's faces.
They are attacking the idea that all of us can belong to America at the same time. There are people outside tonight whose idea of America is much smaller than ours. An America where belonging comes with conditions, where your name matters.
Good morning, Mountain Woman, by the way. Good morning. Great to see you.
Where your ancestry matters, where the direction in which you pray somehow determines whether you are sufficiently American. I reject that vision for our country, because what matters is not the articles of your faith. What matters is the content of your character.
Now, that was the Dearborn mayor speaking right after Lang spoke to the city council last night. He started ripping up the Quran and then was
Real quick, we got Brother So Loud coming in with the 10 spot saying, great content, bro, but I will take a bite of that sandwich. Well, absolutely. You know we're about to get to the sandwich eating, man. You know the deal. Shit.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big-ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
That's a fact, Jack. Hey, Brother So Loud, I very much appreciate that. Making it rain in the chat. Let's freaking go.
Escorted out of the meeting by police. Police do tell us that there were no significant injuries last night, so that is a good thing. We are live here in Dearborn. I'm Robin Murdoch, Fox 2 News.
And Robin, I wanted to ask you, because off the top there, you were talking about the arrests that were made later on today. We should get kind of more specifics. Do we know when we're going to get that? But also, if they're going to release photos, tell us where these folks are from, any of that.
Yeah, I did talk with the lieutenant with the Dearborn Police Department actually just a few minutes before I began talking to you right now. And he did mention that he is hoping within the next couple of hours to get those numbers together. And he does hope to have a complete breakdown of exactly where the people were from who were arrested. So just a couple of hours, we should have some clarity as to how many people were taken into custody and where they did come.
Yeah, appreciate that, Grandy, by the way. We do this Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So 11 a.m. Eastern. Monday through Friday.
But it was a
For an
very
hour.
long night for investigators out here, so they're still just trying to get everything together. Back to you, Josh.
It is loud over there. Can't hear anything. Okay, sounds good. Let's move on into, we have a couple of things here, actually. So we have an update, Middle East war, no talks between U.S. and Iran, Trump says. So Trump actually puts out, there are no talks or conversations going on or scheduled with the Islamic Republic of Iran. The naval blockade remains in full force and effect. The Hormuz Strait is open and operating. All water mines have been removed or detonated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. All right, let's go and bring this up, figure out what's happening here. Okay.
President Trump here at the top of the
It's just coming out an hour ago.
hour on Truth Social saying, quote, there are no talks or conversations going on or scheduled with the Islamic Republic of Iran. The naval blockade remains in full force and effect. The Hormuz Strait is open and operating. All water mines have been removed or detonated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump.
Thank
and
you,
as
Chip.
we continue to talk
Appreciate
about
that.
the strait there of Hormuz, you can see what is a post from Iran International English saying Iran and Oman will soon issue a joint statement announcing a new passage through the strait separate from the southern route. That's according to an Iranian lawmaker who is the deputy chair of Iran Parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Committee. Still a lot of questions about exactly what that means, so we'll keep you posted here on Live Now from Fox as we get additional information. Right now, I do want to bring in Miad Maliki, a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defensive Democracies and a former senior Treasury official, to discuss what all of this means. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And I want to start off by talking about these comments that were made by President Trump, essentially saying that no talks are scheduled and the Strait of Hormuz is open. He provided that statement on Truth Social, but there's been a lot of talk about exactly whether or not the strait is open and whether or not there is that direct line of communication between the U.S. and Iran.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and fetch the numbers as of the last 4 or 5 days or whatever for you guys. But we saw Thursday at the slowest we had seen it in a minute, where there were 7 ships that transited through the strait on Thursday. But the numbers did go up to, around 20. They were kind of averaging about 20 per day. But that's nowhere close to, that's 10% of what it used to be before the war, because we were kind of averaging about 200 on average. You could say anywhere from 175 to 225. You could be in there in that range. But nonetheless, I'll fetch the actual numbers of how many ships have been moving through the strait within the last few days.
Specifically the IRGC. So what does that tell us? What do you take away from that statement?
So it seems very clear to me that President Trump has taken a different approach recently with Iran and with the Iranian regime. And instead of putting a lot of hope and efforts in talks, just focusing on pressure economically and militarily and diplomatically, as we saw yesterday with UAE's announcement that they're cutting off all commercial and trade with Iran. So I think what was happening here, President Trump, historically, he would have been very clear if there were talks that were ongoing, and he would have messaged talks with Iran just to kind of calm the market. So
oh, shit. All right. Here's the numbers right now. The numbers are not good. Okay, so this is being reported by Reuters. Saturday, August 15th, 3 commodity vessel transits. Sunday, 2 vessel transits. Monday, 6. And Tuesday, 6, for a total of 17. Now, those are obviously tracked vessels compared to the ones that have their AIS completely off. They're in the dark and they kind of move with the assistance of the United States, which is that has been happening, and that's where basically you would see maybe a handful of more ships within that number.
If there were any talks, I think President Trump would have been very clear about it. But at this point,
safe,
I
easy,
think President
Frank.
Trump again is focused on pressuring the regime. Their flow of oil going through the Strait of Hormuz, it's new. It's not. It's a very small portion of what used to go through the Strait of Hormuz, but it's slowly coming back. And also remember, some of these Gulf states, they have found other ways, pipelines, for example, to transfer oil out of the region without having to go through the Strait of Hormuz. So you have a region that is racing towards bypassing the Strait of Hormuz. You have U.S. Naval Command that is helping tankers get out of the Strait of Hormuz, and you have the regime in Iran that is slowly losing its ability, and its ability is degrading to close the Strait of Hormuz as it's facing severe economic pressure.
It's interesting because we've talked.
Listen, we've been talking about this for months now. These guys, all they have to do is survive, and we need an all-out win on the United States. We need them to concede on the nuclear program. We need them to open the strait with no tolls. This is kind of a rough situation that we've got ourselves in, for damn sure. But I forget where I was going with that. But I'll remember here in a second.
A lot over the past several days in general here about Oman and how that factors in. President Trump saying during a Fox News interview
that if they're willing to basically die for their cause, you think they're not willing to go broke doing their cause? Of course they are. Of course they are. What are you talking about?
And reiterating essentially during a Q&A with reporters that Oman better not step in the way and cause any sort of issues there over any kind of negotiations, especially as it factors into the strait. But as Iran International English is reporting, you have an Iranian lawmaker who's pretty high up in the ranks there saying that Oman and Iran are going to issue a joint
What's up, Mr. Steiny, by the way?
statement about the strait. So can you explain for folks out there what that means and what that could lead to?
Well, I think it's really a diplomatic game that Iran is playing with its really little left diplomatic influence in the region, and that's only Oman. And
okay, we already know this, and we're having troubles with Oman. Seriously, we've been covering that as well, but no need to stick on this. We don't need to hear the FDD guy over there ramble on. We know it's exactly enough. All right, Carmelo Anthony back in court seeking new trial judge. Now it's saying seeking a new trial, and then it says comma judge. So anyways, this is coming out just 27 minutes ago. Let's go and bring this up, figure out what the fuck is going on here.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinn. Now to a story that we have been following for quite some time, and that is this. The appeals process for Carmelo Anthony's murder trial is getting underway right now. So back in June, Anthony was convicted of killing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf.
Definitely not drinkable. And yes, it is salt water.
At a Frisco track meet. Well, now his new legal team has a list of requests, starting with a new judge. To talk more on this, I do want to bring in Fox 4's Peyton May, who joins us live outside of the courthouse with the very latest. Peyton,
damn, you got some fucking background noise like a bitch.
Yes, good morning. Within the last 30 minutes, both the families of Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony entered into the courtroom. Carmelo Anthony also entered a little bit later on. Now, he had his hair cut. He was wearing handcuffs initially.
What up, your boy, by the way? Good morning.
His defense team asked for those cuffs to be removed, and that did happen. Now,
and Brother Sterling.
Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison for the fatal stabbing of Austin Metcalf a year ago. Anthony has a completely new legal team this time around, though, made up of pretty well-known civil rights and criminal defense Anthony's attorneys, they're hoping for both a new judge and a new trial. Now, today's hearing is focusing on whether a different judge will oversee Anthony's request. Visiting Judge Sid Harrell, who presided over the first Uvalde school shooting trial, will hear arguments here in McKinney this morning. Anthony's attorneys are asking that Judge John Roach, who presided over Anthony's initial trial, is removed from all his future proceedings. Judge Roach previously said in an interview.
Oh, shit, real quick. We got Chip coming in with the 20 spot. I very much appreciate that, by the way, my man. He says, bro, we have short memories, and Iran has the opposite. We funded Saddam in the 80s in the Iran/Iraq war and gave him the chemical weapons to kill 1 million Iranians. We aren't blameless here. No doubt, man. Hey, listen, thank you very much for making it rain in the chat, my man. That goes a long way. And for the rest of you guys, you know what I mean? Listen.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Massive W to you, Chip. Thank you very much for the support.
That he believes Anthony's trial was fair to both sides. What happens today will directly impact a hearing tomorrow. In that proceeding, Anthony's attorneys will request a new trial, raising constitutional and legal challenges to the original trial. Now, they want those issues to be decided by an independent judge. If Judge Roach is recused today, another judge will sit over tomorrow's hearing for a new trial. But if he isn't, Anthony's attorneys will be arguing for a new trial before the same judge who stated the first one was fair. Now, inside of the courtroom right now, members of the public and the families of Anthony and Metcalf are listening to the defense team right now. Defense attorneys are playing an interview that was recorded previously with the previous judge, that judge saying that he prepared for this trial for 8 months. He had no ties to the Metcalf family, and all he wanted was a fair trial. We will continue to bring you updates. There are no cameras allowed in the room right now, though.
Of course not.
Reporting live in McKinney, I'm Peyton May.
And Peyton, before we let you go, did Anthony's family speak to the media before they walked inside the courthouse?
Jesus, they cranked up the wrong person.
It's unsure right now if they spoke to any members of the media. There are limited media and public seating in there right now. So going into the courthouse, we weren't able to catch a glimpse of them before heading in.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be following along with you about the very latest. Peyton May with Fox 4 Dallas. Thank you so much for that report. And this is a social media post from Fox 4 News talking about live updates from Collin County as convicted murderer Carmelo Anthony seeks a new trial and the recusal of Judge John Roach. I did want to share just a little bit more information as we continue to follow all of this right here. This is some more information there on your.
It says right here, Collin County jury found Anthony guilty of first-degree murder in connection with 17-year-old Austin Metcalf's fatal stabbing on April 2nd of 2025. Down here it says Judge Roach said he believes the trial was fair on to both sides, despite there being no black jurors on the jury. This comes amid claims that Roach's post-trial public statements show he cannot be impartial, and a separate hearing on Thursday will consider the defense's request for a new trial. And yeah, you can pretty much assume that he's not going to get that. So anyways, we'll be following it. That's what we do over here. Anything that we present, we do our best and our damnedest to make sure that we follow along with the story and present what we see. All right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough, especially in the members and you guys at donating, hanging out, hitting that like button, all of that shit. It all adds up. It allows us to do this Monday through Friday. And then, of course, we have members only on Saturday morning, man. So it's always a good time. Make sure you guys get the likes up on the way out. I very much appreciate the likes, man. Double tap the screen if you're on the vertical side. Listen, we'll be back tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. We've got the Diamond Effect tonight at 7:15 Central Standard Time. It's going to be a good time. So anyways, much love, honor, respect to everyone, and God bless. We'll see you guys very soon.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with, fueled by the power that only so can be stood. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry.